The North American Weed Tour podcast. I'm Mitch Pfeiffer.
And I'm Jay Ping, man. What's up, everybody?
We got a special guest today coming live from the east side of Washington State, man. Spokane, somewhere in Spokane to be exact. We got our homie Fred from GLW, man. What's good, bro?
Oh man, just the same old grind out here in 502. You know, it's a tough one, man. It's tough every day.
I love it,
man. I dig it. We were just talking about behind the scenes. You guys got some outdoor harvest about to come down and gearing up for that, man. How's the season been for you guys?
The smoke has been a little bit. You know, it's cleared up here. The plants look amazing. So everything's looking good. Last year we had 1,800 plants. This year we went down to 1,100, but we went bigger pots. So we're looking at some great fucking plants. And as far as strains, we got like 30 different strains outside. So, most people do that. We might do 5, 10 maybe. So we got flavors.
You got them flavors. You've always had them flavors, Fred. They call you Flavor Fred in the streets, I heard.
Man, they call me flavors. Yeah, I do got some samples. I got about 50 different samples to try. So we've been pheno hunting, so we're gonna try them out tonight.
Hey, we gonna do a pheno hunt round tonight? What's up?
Well, me and Mitch need to get together. I got these different runts crosses, man. I've been seeing him blow on some runts. We got some crazy shit coming.
Ooh, let's go, man.
Yeah, I gotta come pull up in Spokane. We'll leave Joey in California. He doesn't need to know nothing about that, man.
Come on, man. You know I stay with the fire too out here, y'all. Come on.
So with the plants you guys got going outdoor, are you growing some of the same strains you guys are growing indoor?
Yeah, well, what we did this year is we threw about 100 autos out there, but then that heat wave kind of messed about half of them up. So we got like 75 autos that we're just getting ready to harvest, and that's kind of a new territory. That's new this year. I've never done autos, but it's something I probably won't ever do again. But it's cool for some people. It might work for some people, just not for us. As far as the other strains, though, yeah, we took all of our indicas. And threw them outside because I knew that at least they would have a chance to finish. And we're finding out some of them are just loving it outside, just killing it. Like that's where they want to be.
Hell yeah. I love it. I love it.
So a lot of the outdoor stuff, you guys aren't selling that. The flower is the indoor, the outdoor is what goes into the concentrates and things like that, correct?
Yeah, so the indoor is completely different. The indoor is where we, our bread and butter, where we with GLW, and then the outdoor was just we bought the license, and last year first season, and we obviously got a license, you got to use it. So we produced a lot of flower, but we really didn't know what we were getting into, and this year we're just gonna sell it, wholesale it, and just keep moving to next year, rather than trying to like get top dollar out of it. There's no reason to do that.
Sure. And so for the indoor, you guys now have 2. I mean, I think we saw last time we were up there, you guys were almost fully built out in the second facility, right?
Yes, we got 7,800 square feet inside, built out. We're licensed for 10,000 square feet, and then as far as the outdoor is a 70,000 square foot, fenced in area. And I mean, it's beautiful. You don't see any dirt. It's all tarped. You don't see it's gravel and tarps.
Yeah. So what's a little bit of your history, man, of like, maybe when GLW started or even yourself in cannabis, like pre that, like what's kind of your history, your relationship with cannabis, man?
I was selling weed in 9th grade. I was taking brown weed to school, selling dub sacks every day. So that's kind of where it started. And obviously, moved into like the beasters, old school beasters when those used to come through, and we thought that was good. And then finally moved in. I'm in Spokane, so that's the home of the indoor. We grow basement grows. That's where it's always been, basement indoor fire, especially in the winter. And then I had some friends that they wanted me to get into growing because I just had a regular garden and I used to kill them, just a regular garden. And they were like, "Shit, if you can do that, you can grow weed." And I was like, "Well, let's try it. We'll try it out." And actually, one of the people that got me started is my partner at GLW. So I'm very grateful for that. He definitely put me on the right path.
Right, no kidding.
Yeah.
You guys have been killing it.
Thanks.
And a long time in the game, man. A legacy, legacy market, whatever you call it. Been here before 502 and out here killing it. And that's a lot of the stories we love to see grow. This industry is filled with people that you know didn't make the sacrifice or didn't really pave the way. And so that's a hot topic. You know, we got to bash them too much, but I mean, what's your feeling on the people that are, you know, coming in the industry that don't have the previous experience?
I mean, I think the industry's for everyone. You know, obviously it's an open industry. It's just like the gold rush, you know, but at the same time, those people shouldn't have a more of an opportunity than the people that don't have money or the people that have been in this industry forever. You know, I think that it's set up for, you know, the people with money. I mean, that's just how it is. It sucks. But, you know, people that have paid their dues and got in here, you know, I know people that have, you know, lost their life, you know, went to jail, you know, all types of things for, you know, for marijuana. And you know, they don't, it seems like they, you know, they can't even get a damn license. So I think it is messed up. But it's just, you know, you have to work that much harder just to be in this industry when, you know, you kind of paved the way for it already.
100%, man. And it's, yeah, it was crazy to see when it went legal, even though some of the medical shops have been around for a while, couldn't get in. And then you see, you know, tech workers and stuff like that having no issue getting in. I mean, obviously capitalism is the US, is everything's a money game. But
shit, we're really seeing in Florida right now, you know, all this proof come out about people lobbying against home grows and lobbying against all the other people being able to get licensed and then being able to stack over 50, 70 to 100 licenses, man, 150, 200 licenses. It's so unfair. It's so criminal, man.
It's fucking horrible. But Florida, I mean, I've heard for years Florida was like that. Even back when they said that they were only selling that Charlotte's Web shit. I even back then when they only sold that CBD, I was hearing about how it was already like, you know, 4 different fucking companies ran that fucking state. And when it did become legal, they were going to run it. And here we are.
Ran it. Right?
And that was fucking 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, and like, you know, we just did the article on that, and from my understanding, I might be ignorant to it, but that the True Live, who's like really under fire right now, they had lobbied and worked with the government officials to help pass the legislation. Like they were able to build the legislation that they were able to benefit off because they knew that how the chess game was going to roll out before it even started. And the way they set it up is you had to have vertical integration, you had to have X amount of money in the bank, which they already had all that funding and infrastructure set up. So when it went legal, the law was written for them to have the easy road.
You had to have fucking because we used to be partners with a watermelon farmer from Florida, and you had to have like 20 or 30 years experience growing in just in agriculture. So you motherfuckers that have that. So I mean, right there was something that was like shit. It wasn't set up for the people that paved the way. It was set up for people with money.
Right. It was set up for the people that were able to position themselves, which is just wrong, man. And every state's done some stuff right. Every state's done some stuff wrong, but they're fucking up in the long way down there. I
mean, people. I don't mean to cut you off, but people, you know, talk a lot of shit about Washington. It's the rules and this and that, but after just seeing everything, seeing the full, you know, every state, I mean, Washington's doing as good a job as anybody. I mean, if anything, they're doing a better job. I mean, it's a hard market. It's hard, but you better grow. If you don't grow fire, what are you doing? You better keep product that you can make some money off of. I think the problem was people like it was a race to the bottom, like who could produce it for the cheapest. But it was really never a race. It was a race to see who could grow fire, because that's what's selling. You know, good weed.
Yeah, 100%. If you look at like the amount of brands on the shelf that are in like a $45 to $60 range, which is our highest, there's a lot of people and it sells really well. Whereas you look at like, you know, but then in regards to like Cali, 45 to 60 is like a budget, not quite the cheapest, but that's a budget. You know, that's not top shelf prices.
Hell yeah. I mean, it's definitely a different market. But just from smoking for so long, I want to smoke. I don't really buy too much weed. You know, there's a lot that goes on, so I want something that's going to taste like it smells. And if it doesn't do that, then I don't even want to waste my time with it. So, damn sure not going to waste my money.
Right. And something I want to get in with you guys, because something that I know you've prided yourself very much in the transition of this legal market of being able to learn how to grow clean product you know, do it the right way, the honorable way, which I know was a learning curve coming from, you know, growing in basements where the information wasn't readily available. But you were on that early, and not even from a marketing standpoint of, oh, it's this or it's that. But what is the importance to you in terms of like making sure shit is grown clean and proper with the right nutrients and water and everything?
Well, I think it's key because I smoke it, you know, and that's what I think a lot of people maybe in this position, they might own the farm or this and that. They really don't care. Like, I want to put that is, you know, good, you know, it's good, it's clean, it's not going to, you know, do anything to, you know, hurt me, you know, get me sick. So, that being said, you know, we're not going to spray, you know, some people spray in flour, some people do all these things, you know, and then put it out to market. You know, you can't do that. You got to have clean flour. You know, you can taste it when you smoke it if it's been sprayed. And, you know, benefit insects, when we started using those, it was really just, we didn't, you know, we used to, you know, when we started, we would spray, you know, for preventative, and then we had an infestation, and we switched to insects, and that's able to beat it. And once I, you know, just educated myself on that, you know, it's really the way to go. You know, and it's funny, some places are like, oh, you can't do that, you can't just bugs, you know, there's no way. You can if you know, educate yourself, you know what you're doing, you know, and definitely just learning. But before, you know, like you were saying, it really wasn't, you know, information or anything like that. You just spray something that works. And that's why people spray like nasty shit like Eagle 20 and things like that, because the shit worked. And they didn't have it for the stick to the, you know, what the fuck it was. Excuse my language.
Come on, man. This is we got to keep it real here. You got to let the people know this is that education that we were just talking about not being out there. We don't need to. Fred, we coming to you because you one of the experts we trust the most in the space. You always were one of the people that kept it real. It's very important that people understand. People were spraying weed for years. People were really
Miracle Grow, using Miracle Grow, you know, things like that. The thing that people don't realize, they're like, oh, medical weed is cleaner. Medical weed is cleaner. I mean, to be honest with you, medical weed to me, like I'm talking about pre-502, was me not going to jail. That was what medical weed was. You know, my medical card kept me out of jail. But, you know, some people didn't look at it like that, but that's how I looked at it, you know. So, you know, that's what medical. So people are like, oh, medical was cleaner. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. You know, 502, we are regulated. We have to get shit tested. We have to see we can't just put anything on here and sell it. You know, I mean, shit, we'll put that product on the shelf, we'll get a recall, and we lose tons of money that way. You know, what's the point? You don't want to go down that road at all. And then people are like, oh, my guy, or, you know, medical days were cleaner. What, the guy growing in the basement that has no regulations, the guy that has spiders down there and his rent is relying on that crop, he's spraying the fuck out of that. Why wouldn't you? I mean, he got his hey.
100%. 100%. Now, you mentioned so many important points in that statement you just made there, and I want to key in on a couple. California, the rest of the country, Washington State. There's a massive market for traditional, aka the black market, right? So it's still out there. The weed's cheaper. It's better. People have this perception that it's safer or more medical, or things were just better in the medical days. No. Fred. No. You're one of the bosses of this company. You're one of the owners. You're a partner in this company. Please walk people down how wrong that mindset is. And I mean, it's okay. So you're supporting a friend. You're supporting a person you know. That's one thing. But to justify it to justify going and just only ever buying weed like that because you really think it's safer, please enlighten the public from the perspective of someone who grows, extracts, sells, runs the business, gets it tested, sees the results, etc.
I would say that you know, like say something goes out, say you have a dehumidifier go out or a light go out. Some of these companies, they can replace it just like that. You know, some of these other grow, you know, a medical grow, something goes out, a light goes out, you might not be able to afford that till your harvest, you know, or you have an issue, you can't afford getting bugs. You're spraying stuff that you found from the store. So what we're saying is like supporting your friend, you know somebody, hey, he does that, and this person's a nice person, and this person's a clean person, but what the hell does that have to do with what they grow and sell? Because that's completely different. Like if that's their only source of income, And how they're going to pay their bills if they have a problem? They're not, so they have that crop has to, they have to either get great at what they do and not have problems, or they got to, deal with, they got to spray and do some shit to make the product sell. And that's where you get the cheap ass packs. That's when they're like, hey, this cheap weed, here it is. It's cheap for a reason. It's just funny that people think that the legal grows are so dirty. The legal grows, like some of the bigger ones, they can buy anything they want. They can buy the best genetics, buy the best lights, they can buy the best, beneficial insects, pesticides. What they can afford anything. So how could that not be someone that can afford to buy anything and treat the product? How would that not be better? And they're regulated. I mean, shit. Now, but there are farms out there that shit's regulated. There's still a list that we have to go off of, and there's sometimes farms don't follow that list. Sometimes farms will, use a product a little bit further than they're supposed to. Because if it says use up to harvest, spray up to harvest, that doesn't mean spray the shit up to harvest. Hey, if you're in flower, don't ever fucking spray that shit at all. Like what the hell is wrong with these people? Like never. I hear some farms like, well, we spray like up to the first 2 weeks of flower. What the fuck are you talking about? No, that's disgusting. And then some people like don't even realize like what neem, any other state, Washington's pretty woke to what neem, or neem seed, neem oil will do, to people that smoke it, inhale it. But like any other state, they think that's like the fix all. And I'm just like, man, I wouldn't even want to smoke that stuff. People don't realize how bad it is when you do smoke some of this stuff.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I was wondering. It reminded me, neem, first off. I remember back when I worked at Diego, when we first discovered each other, Fred. and I was smoking a lot of solstice weed back then, and it said neem was listed on it, right? And I remember having this raspy collection of just, you know what I mean?
Yes. Yep.
And then I'm out here. I start going to the sessions, these traditional market sessions, and it's back. It's back. Okay. Like the sprays you're talking about. Okay. Yep. And then I started buying all these. I spent 2 years in the recreational industry here now, right, with buddies and everything. And I don't have that same harshness a lot of the time, but I do on all of the, I feel like I do on a lot of the lower end stuff. And because they're trying to grow to a certain quality standard, right? And they're not growing to the best. They're growing to $30 eighth, $20 eighth, right?
But yeah, you're right. But that doesn't mean they have to treat it like that. Even though they don't have to fucking use the nasty shit. They just need to educate themselves and get better. And that's what I try to tell most gardeners. They get pissed off because I'm like, if you're not trying to get better, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm. So let's, Mitch. I don't know what all questions you have, but I have, just based on what he just said there, Fred. Could you talk to me a little bit about the current stuff that you're smoking, the strains? Could you talk to us a little bit about that strains, and then think back and talk to us about the difference between where you're at now and where you guys were at when you started?
Okay, so right now I'm smoking some tropical runts. It's actually the first time that we ran it. I got my sample. That's all I get in 502 fucking gram. Back in the day, I'd have pounds of weed, quarter pounds of weed. People think that I have just tons of weed. No. I get a fucking gram per 5 pounds and to sample, see if it's any good. And then I go buy my shit from the store. It's ridiculous. But
Jesus.
That's the shit they make us do. We do everything by the damn book. So
I don't mean to cut you off. If you didn't do that, are they coming down on you? Is the fucking DEA swooping in, or what's the deal?
Coming down on you, but that's just one thing. I mean, we keep our shit clean. We keep everything, by the book. So if they do come in, there's nothing. And at the same time, we sell out a product. So say that I take 7 gram samples, and I can sell those 7 grams at a fucking store. Like we sell out, weekly. I'd rather sell out at the store. I'd rather give it to the customers, man. Get as much. I mean, I want to taste it. I want to make sure it's good and quality control. But man, sell that.
I hear you. So tropical runs.
So tropical runs. It's from Exotic Genetics. They did a runts release where they released a ton of runts crosses. This one's kind of got a little orange, like almost like that Colorado Clementine that we have, kind of that orange flavor, but it's got that runch look. We had 3 different phenos that we ran, and we found this number 3 right here, and it seems like a keeper so far. I mean, tastes good, smokes good, smells good. I mean, that's one thing, when we pop seeds, we make sure that just because it has a good name, that doesn't mean that we're going to be keeping it. We got to make sure that it smells good, looks good, tastes good, all 3. Because if it doesn't do that, some of them taste good and don't look so good. And I'll keep those around because, we're about herbs, we're about flavor, so I'd rather have something that just tastes fucking fire. I don't really care what it looks like. If it's got that smell and it tastes like fire, shit, I don't care about all that. The purple, it looks great. Bag appeal is amazing, but still, I want something that's going to taste good. And that flavor's going to linger in your mouth. You're going to leave.
So does some of those uglier strains, does that go into your pre-rolls or extraction or something?
Shit, no, we have this one that's our diesel and our gooey. It's really not the prettiest, but it's pretty, but it's just not as good as like the the runch crosses or like the cookie crosses or things like that. Because people want that look. Right now, people want that like hard nug, that like kind of purplish, just like just all swollen look. They don't like those big ass nugs anymore. People don't want that. They want that looks just like cookies. Really, that's what they want.
You guys are really curating a certain kind of menu. You've got cookies cuts. You've got these other genetics. Let's talk about your menu and how you guys built that. How did you get to these strains? How did you curate and pull from these different seed banks? And if you wouldn't mind, mention those seed banks. Let's show love to these genetics, these breeders. We got to show love to the breeders.
So when we first start 502, they give you a little 15-day window to bring your strains in. And when we did that, we at the time we brought in, I think it was over 50 strains, something like that when we first started, different strains. And we had like the old school Bubba that my partner paid $5,000 for just one cut. We had the Afghan, real deal. He paid $2,500 for that. We still got those around. Silver tip, anything that was fire here in Spokane, we got it. I'm talking about pre-502. Anything that was around here. Bubba was the number 1 strain around here. That shit was getting 320 an ounce all day long. So, yeah, got it in here. But you bring it in the 502 market, and it's not – we still have it. We grow it. It sells out, but it's not like when you got runts or you got like gelato or you got like anything cookies. It's not the same. But that Bubba, like real smokers, when they see that, they're like, yeah, I need that one. So we brought in a lot of cuts. But actually, before 502 started, I started selling seeds, and I was selling seeds for a company called Alpha Chronic, and it just kind of like everything kind of came together because I had like over 1,500 seeds when we came in here. We were just popping tons of seeds. I was doing giveaways. I was promoting seeds, and when you're doing that, it's just like a whole different community. So you got people, trading, doing types of certain things. So when we came in, we brought in all these seeds, tons of different. So much shit. Our library was huge, still huge. And we just pop them. We don't even pop out 100 every month. 100 every month. People don't realize, some people pop thousands, but 100 every month, that takes a lot. That's a lot of fucking work. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of R&D. You got to make sure it's right. Because like I said, just because it's got a good name, Tropical Runts, we'll throw all 3 of them away if they're no good. I don't care who did it. I don't care what the hell. It's gone. What I really tried to do was, rather than getting like the GMO, rather getting like the runts, or the cookies, I always want crosses of those, So then we're kind of like coming to market with our own. So we're not coming, but shit, we will come to market with the same strain as everybody else because we'll put it up against the Pepsi challenge with any brand. So just having different strains though, when it comes time to buy, I feel like the buyers from the stores, they have more of they have more options. Because like, just imagine if we had like, I'm just making strains, but like Blue Dream, Silver Tip and something else. If everybody grew that, it's really not going to sell. But if we got the Blue Dream cross, like the Pineapple Dream, and then we have like the Silver Tip cross, shit, people will buy those all day long. So we always just try to keep up new stuff and just, look at the market. You got to pay attention to the market. You see some of these farms and you see what they're growing, and it's like Black Dragon. Who the fuck wants to smoke that? I'm not buying that. I don't want anything to do with that. So why don't you look at what the market is selling and go after things like that? Be like, oh, I can't sell weed. Well, nobody wants to buy that weed. Like nobody wants to, or like, or like they say AK-47. Well, you're not going to get rich on AK-47. keep it around or throw that shit away, but get the stuff that sells. You want to sell out every week, and that's when we come with a bunch of different crosses or main strains, because we have about 45 main strains that we could sell out, every week. Every week we have them, but then we have all these new ones coming through it because there's so much new stuff. I'd say over the last 2 years, especially with COVID, the seed game has gotten ridiculous. I mean, it's almost bigger than the weed game. Some of them breeders are killing it. And
oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really, I'd say it's easier. You can make way more money. If we use this whole place to breed and had a place to sell our seeds, we'd make way more money than selling weed. But the thing is, you got to be able to sell those seeds. And some of those breeders, they sell out, and that's great. So we keep up with everything that's going on with the new strains and things like that. Just keep our ear to the street. If you have to see what the competition is doing. You don't have to do exactly what they do, but you got to see what's going on around here.
Right. So what is it on your guys' main strains? What are some of the the staples you feel like GLW is known for? You guys sell. I mean, you guys selling a lot of flower pretty frequently. But what are those top ones?
Everybody asks for Silvertip. If we had 15 pounds a week, 20 pounds a week, we would sell out weekly. But we keep a menu, a rotating menu. We keep flavors coming through. Silvertip, Fruit Loops. People love our Fruit Loops. We got Pink Taco. People love the Pink Taco. What else? We got pudding, Chef Jessens, peanut butter patties. What else we got? So Galactic Glue. What else do we got? I mean, it's Colorado Clementine. I mean, flavors after flavors. And one thing about it is we try to have flavors. If you look at a turf wheel, I'm trying to cover the turf wheel.
Right.
Taco doesn't smell like anything. Joey, if you can find me a weed strain down in California that smells like the Pink Taco, I'll buy you dinner. I say that strain is so unique. I mean,
yeah.
And the terps on it are like 7% terps. And it's
what are the genetics on that taco again?
So what it was the Pink Taco. When I got it by one of the breeders I was dealing with, he sent me a variety pack, and out of the variety pack there was 5 seeds. One was the Pink Taco, one was the Fruit Loops, and they're completely different. The Fruit Loops tested 31 the first time we ever got tested, and the Pink Taco got tested 27 the first time we ever got tested. And we did the genetics. He gave me like what he thought it could be. But he really didn't. He's like, man, I just gave you a variety pack. Here it is. And the reason we named it that is because how it grows. It's got that pink tint to it, and then it starts to taco up from the trichome production. And the Fruit Loops, that shit just smelled like straight Fruit Loops. I mean, it was like, because some people are like, oh, it's a blue dream, or they know what the cross is. I said, we don't know what the fuck the cross is. We named it because it smelled just like that. And I remember like 502, like right before 502, man, people didn't even call. People like they didn't give a shit what the name of weed was. And then I remember, like, all of a sudden, what do you got? What kind of weed you got? What's it called? And then all of a sudden, it just got big, like super big. And in the very beginning of 502, everything had a name. But I remember just like 2-3 years before that, man, there wasn't no names. I mean, there was like some granddaddy, and there was some like maybe some OG.
Yeah, there was maybe, I feel like the world maybe knew of like 25 strains that they could remember. Like all across the country, any person, any moment could think of like 5 at most, maybe 7 at most.
It was. I mean, I remember a time, right, when it was perps. Anything that was remotely purple or tasted purple was just perps. And like, as far as I knew, perp was a strain of weed. I mean, it was God knows how many strains it was, but we just called the shit perps, man.
You know what's funny about that? I found a seed in some granddaddy one time, and I popped it, and I called it the Nurple. I was like, hey, that was it right there. Anything perp, that was it right there. Yeah, I remember those days. But
people used to stress the weed and get you the fake purple and shit, man.
Man, I remember when they used to put the blueberry drops, the tasty puffs. You put like one little drop on each bud, and that shit smells like blueberries now. Hey, I mean, it definitely came a long ways. But as far as the strains that we have, by having so many strains, it's almost like when the old strains coming back around, it's a brand new strain. It's brand new, but they don't. People are like, shit, I haven't seen that one forever. So it's a good thing. But then there's a lot of farms that, it's a lot of work. The team does great down there. Making sure that all the strains stay in rotation and that everything stays healthy, because that's a huge part of it right there. you know, if somebody wasn't paying attention or if you weren't up on it, you know, you lose a lot of that stuff.
100%, 100%. Do so you've got you're pheno hunting a couple of these runts right now. You're smoking on the tropical runts. What's up? What's on deck?
So we got tropical runs. I got 3 different phenos of that. I got I got some GMO fuel, which is a GMO crossed with this Royal. What else we got? We got some rainbow runs, which is that rainbow chip crossed with runs.
Damn.
We got some cookie puss, which is cat piss and Girl Scout cookies.
Damn.
We got some sour pineapple. Hey, this sour pineapple turkey. I mean, it's fire. It's a Black Line Reserve cross. I got some Colorado Clementine. I got some sour sunset. That's that sour D cross with Sunset Sherbet.
That sounds fire.
I got that original glue, and I got some GMO Skittles.
GMO Skittles. I'm not a big GMO person, but I know the popularity behind it. That is all of that sounds absolutely delicious.
Listen, man, that GMO, the right one is amazing. We got a couple of them coming up that are really nice. Smoke that next, actually. What are you smoking on?
I'm smoking on some orange peel. It's a sativa from Ember Valley out of Redding. And then on deck, I've got some Mimosa from Farmer and the Felon. This company is a Last Prisoner Project partner.
Farmer and the Felon?
Yep.
Hell yeah.
They give back to felons, and they work with some really dope humble farmers that are like pumping out some really solid genetics now. The new batch of stuff, like the other weed that I have here, it's mildly impressive. It's pretty decent.
I don't know if we can see. Let me see here. We got some GM. Here we go.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's
wow.
So
yeah, that looks really good. And then the other one, where is it? Oh, and then I ate, and then I'm eating some Delta 8 THC, some edibles.
Yeah.
Yep, some pineapple express gummies. What's the other thing?
What's the dose in California?
Well, those are Delta 8 gummies, but so these are just the typical shit that can be bought, all over the place. These ones are fucking fire. They're 25 milligrams. I like them because they're super chewy and like the texture is fire. Mitch, what are you on over there? I don't see you smoking or dabbing or anything. What's good?
I was just smoking. I smoke on the vape cart. I swapped in and out. I got like a high CBD cart from LeafWorks. It's just like a cool little smoker that don't got the get you high. And then I got a little live resin cart from SPR. So
okay. Listen, he had a CBD bath bomb before this fucking podcast. Okay, so he's really good.
I got the CBD balm. You know what I'm saying? I'm dripped in Spindrift and CBD balm right now. You know?
Hey.
Nah, I'm on the family grind, and where I'm recording, I can't be blowing the flower while my son's right over there in the next room. So later on, I actually funny enough, Joey, I got some Curlado left that I just found when I was in Cali. So I got some Curco. I'll probably spark that up later tonight.
There we go. There we go. Man, shout out GLW, man. For everybody here right now, this is the North American Weed Tour podcast, man. This is episode 13, lucky number 13. We've got Fred Renteria from GLW, a.k.a. Growing Like a Weed, representing Spokane Valley, East Side area, Spokane Mountain, all the different things. Spokane representing March Madness unofficially, because Spokane hosts March Madness. So for those people who don't know, also, Spokane also hosts Hoop Fest, which is the biggest outdoor basketball tournament in the world. I've also been to one of the biggest outdoor volleyball tournaments in the world in Spokane as well.
Nice. You coming? Hey, Mitch, you coming up here for Hoop Fest?
Nah. I'm gonna be up there real quick. Getting fitted for TS's wedding here. So I'm gonna be up there just for like the night in like a week or two though.
No shit, we have to get lunch if you got time or something now. Get a bite to eat or something.
Yeah, no doubt, man.
get you some samples so you can smoke.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'll definitely hit you. I'll hit you up. I'll text you about that. But speaking of Spokane, man, what is the importance you feel like of Spokane to the Washington cannabis scene? Because, you know, for a lot of us that live over here on the west side, you know, this is definitely the mecca of culture and stuff. But when you go to Spokane, y'all got a lot of grows out there and a lot of grows that really put fire out all over the state. And I think a lot of people don't understand that, man. What's the importance of the Spokane area?
I mean, I think that Spokane, one thing is it's cheaper to live over here, you know, so obviously we're trying to produce a product for, you know, as cheap as possible. So, you know, it'd be great to have a farm in Seattle, but you're going to pay. So now you got to pay. Now the customer's got to pay too. Now that $8 to $15, or, you know, and being able to live over here for less expensive, being able to produce a product for less expensive, really, you know, the delivery services they've set up in you know, Washington are great. So, you know, you can use those or you can have your own. But I think just being able to produce the product over here for so cheap is key. And at the same time, I feel like people have kind of slept on us, you know, because it's so in. But shit, there's been indoor fire here forever, for a long time. You know, indoor basement grows. That's like this. We're one of the places because we have these cold winters. So there's a lot of people that are used to that, you know, growing products in the basement, you know, growing weed in the basement. And that's where that fire comes from. You know, obviously it's turned into warehouses and, you know, people are doing that. And it's evolved into warehouses and things like that. But, you know, it started in that basement, you know, basement grow. You know, you were trying to go over $1,000, you know, electric bill, or they were coming to knock on your fucking door. You
know? Yeah. I'll fuck with that. Could you possibly take us back a little bit further into that history and what were those strains back then, man? What are those basement grow strains?
Okay, so I mean the Bubba has been around for forever, you know, forever. You know, different people saying they had OG, you know, this OG or this OG, and it's like, you know, there was only like one or two. And then White Widow. I think what's funny about White Widow is like the CBD strain. People like used to smoke it so long ago. I love White Widow. That shit didn't get you high. It's like smoking CBD. I mean, yeah, it's gonna get you high, but not high, like, you know, like smoking THC. So it's funny when people say, "Oh, I love White Widow." Like, hey, that one really wasn't. You know, that's probably why I didn't like it. Blue Dream. You know, I remember when Blue Dream was it. You know, Blue Dream, Cinex. Oh shit! Everybody had that Cinex because they could make it look good. You could not even know what you were doing to make it look good. And you know, things like the UW perp. That shit was amazing. We actually had it, but it only tested at 14%. So at the 502 market at that time, nobody'd buy it. So, but if we had it today, shit, it would sell all day long.
And I remember smoking some UW perp back in the day. That's crazy.
Yeah. What else was you know, like I said, like that. You know, like that. So anything purple, like you were saying, anything purple. Shit, that's about it. There wasn't really too many strains. I mean, most of the strains that people had, they didn't know the name of it. It was just weed. It was like, just here's some skunk bud, you know, or like, you know, or this yeah, there wasn't too many options. And then I'm where the market's at and where we're at because we're able to have so many different strains, so many different options, you know, so many different terpenes, and now we're able to, you know, all these different terpenes, you know, obviously do something different to everything.
Hell yeah. So what's the importance of being a grower and like sharing genetics and sharing information? And then what are some of the, you know, the restrictions around the kind of the code around that?
Well, I mean, okay, so we've sold a cut to another farm before, you know, $1,000 for cut, you know, that's straight up. And some people give them away, some people trade them $15, $25. But, you know, if I've had it for years and kept it in our library, or if we, you know, pheno hunted for it, and we're not giving it away. There's no way we give them too much to be there. You know, a farm offered us $5,000 for the pink taco, we turned it down. You know, it's like, nah, I mean, not right now. No, we're not selling it right now. So, really, you know, some farms give it away, and that's fine. And that's, you know, we sold some cuts, you know, strains that we're really not going to keep. You know, we'll sell them to get rid of them. But if it's in our arsenal, There's no way that we're selling it. It's staying here. I'd kill it because we don't need to. We put in too much work for it.
So let me ask this. Here's a scenario. California has the ability where you can buy clones. So cannabis legalizes nationally. California's rules are all of a sudden everyone's rules everywhere, whether they're enforced or not. Delivery launches. You have the ability to sell clones. Pink tacos available. Are you selling $150 pink taco clones the same way that you can buy $150 Cushmans?
At that time, if that happened, we might be looking at selling it. It might when the market evolves, changes. Shit.
Yeah.
If that's what's going on, we're selling clones now, making money off clones, we can bring in $10,000-$20,000 a month off clones. Hell yeah! But I mean, right now, we're not bringing in no money like that. There's not even we get people to hit us up for clones, but nothing like that.
It's just really interesting because when I first, obviously I was in the market up there with you guys for so long. And then now you come down here and it's like, yeah, you can grow weed at home here. So people build, companies build their brand strength and continue building brand loyalty by selling their strains, brands like that. Green Dragon.
Up here, for sure.
It's crazy.
Because you can go to Oregon, you can get different strains. Go to California, you can buy different cuts, different strains, and then you come up to Washington, it's like no. I mean, there's some people that give it away, but at the same time, you got to be careful when you get strains because, if you don't know what you're doing, man, they're passing all types of shit onto you. They're passing bugs, they're passing fucking mold, and that's just gonna spread through your shit. And why would you even want to do that? Why not pop seeds? You ain't got to worry about none of that. That's why we pop seeds. Like, I don't want clones. I mean, I've gotten clones, and we put them through a quarantine stage and everything like that. But that's still work. You pop seeds. You're starting fresh, clean. Every time. So we pop a lot of seeds and then take clones.
I see. So that way you just pheno hunt a bit based on like the strengths of the plant or even the end result if you grow them all the way out.
Yeah, I mean, we'll pheno hunt. We'll make a determination. Like I've been some paperwork that I'll fill out to what I liked about these samples, and we'll go from there. We'll run them probably one more time, and then after that, we'll narrow it down to one or two. I mean, hopefully we keep them all, but it's not like that because we definitely it's a high standard.
So what percentage of your guys' square footage are you using just to pheno hunt?
Fuck. As little as possible because we're out here trying to produce flower at the same time. So when we're pheno hunting, I mean, it's once we sex the plant, once we find out if it's a male or female, after we do that, we'll put enough of that pheno or enough of that plant in the room. So even if it does produce, it's going to produce enough product to make money off of it. I mean, if it's not to our standard, we can wholesale it. Roll joints out of it. If it is to our standard, we'll sell it in our packaging. But I would say we try to do like 10% of each room we fill. I mean, it's not that much, but we have a lot that we're going through, so that's why it takes so long. We used to dedicate one room to it, but we sell out, so we need to produce as much flower as possible now.
Got to make that money. Got to make that money when the demand's there. You got to fill it.
Yeah, and so I want to talk about that. One of the biggest challenges of Washington, the way the license structure was set up, and the fixed number of grow licenses. How difficult has it been to scale, even experiencing success, but trying to scale to get even more success? Like how difficult is that, and what are some of the factors that contribute to that?
And it's tough. It's tough because you have a market that's changing every day. You have people that are dropping their price. You have relationships that you build with stores, and then all of a sudden somebody quits or somebody gets fired. Now you're just in the dark, and now you can't sell no product. He's like, hold on, this is my best store. Like, what's going on? Like, so shit changes all the time. And we came in we knew how to grow weed and like sell it to, sell weed like to our friend. I mean, we always sold weed, but nothing on like a scale like this, a bigger scale. But I think one thing that helped us out was just being real and just, being what a lot of people want out of their product. That's what it's a product that weed smoke, so they want to smoke it as well. I think a lot of people really they didn't have a clue of what I mean, they seen it on TV or whatever, but they didn't know, they didn't live the life. They didn't know what the fuck the marijuana industry really was, because there was an industry way before 502, before this legalization. So it was kind of easy. I'm not gonna say easy, because it's not, none of this shit is easy, not easy at all. But it was just we just, a lot of the problems that we would run into, we've already ran into it before. You know,
yeah.
The one thing that was to our advantage. You know, so a lot of these places would have problems or issues, and they wouldn't know what to do. You know, they have, we know how to make money. I mean, shit, that's about, you got to make money. You know, no matter what, you still got to make money. So we know how to do that and bring in the product. You got to pay the bills. You got to, sell the product and pay the bills. And some people hold on to the product like it's gold. It's not gold. It's going to lose value the older it gets. So you got to sell it as fast as possible. And it only has a short window. And if you can sell it within that window, you're good. But you'll never see our product, a year old flower, a year old sitting on a. I mean, if that's the case, we got a huge problem. Something's going on at the store, but we would never package up anything. Like the stuff that we package, that stuff is 30 days. 30 days after it's been harvested. 30, because we're selling out. We're selling out. So that's a good place to be. And some people aren't there, but that's what they need to get to, because by doing that, they'll hold on to this product. I hear about farms trying to sell stuff that's a year old. You got to dump that. You got to, obviously you can't destroy it, but you should have never been in a position that it was a year old. You got to make a move way for that. So I think a lot of farms messed up by trying to think that everything was great, everything was amazing, and then trying to get top dollar out of everything when everything's not always great. You got to have different avenues and be able to keep pushing. You can't. That's one thing about selling this weed. Like if you're a bud tender and you recommend something, and that customer comes in, buys it, smokes it, doesn't like it, they're not buying that brand again. They don't give a they're like, fuck that brand. So it's like you only really got one chance to get a customer. So that's why we have so much quality control. And if we find a seed in the product, later on down the road after it's been sent out, or because we're more organic, more, we can't call it organic, but it's more organic, as close to organic as you can be. And just like at the store, the organic shit goes bad faster. Synthetic shit will sit there on the shelf forever. And that's the same thing with weed. So, buying an organic product, it's good for, that fresh time is when you're getting the best product. A lot of people don't know that. So organic product, look at it. At a year, it's going to not look good, but it was a way better product to begin with.
In your opinion, you harvest the plant, you've got sativas, you've got indicas, your strains, your lineup. As soon as you chop it down, walk us through that path, that process of getting quality bud dried, hang dried, cured, trimmed, packaged into the store. Walk us through a little bit of that process, as much as you're willing to share for y'all.
Well, we go through and we'll hang the whole product, hang the whole plant upside down for 14 days, and most places couldn't get 10, and some places do it in 7 or 8. So 14 days is key. You get 14 days, you're on your way. You're on your way to a good start. After that, they'll come through. They'll take the big fan leaves off, keep the buds on the stem, let it drop all the moisture from this stem. It's all hands on after that. It's somebody checking it all the time, making sure it's ready. After we defan it, we're gonna trim it about 7 to 10 days after that. So there's somebody in the bags. There's somebody making sure it's not getting too dry. Just keeping our eyes on it. And if it does get to a point where we have to trim it early, then we'll make that adjustment. But so at this point, we're looking at 21 days, or even 24 days.
Okay.
And then they'll fine trim it. Then after that, we'll let it cure. We're prepping the bags. We're hands on. It's in a room that's at a certain temperature, certain humidity the whole time. Then we'll send it down to processing. Processing is our facility in town. They'll package it up for sale, and it's gone. So we're looking at about 30, anywhere from 30 to 40 days, until it's sold.
Yeah, and that's every harvest with you guys.
If there's a strain, we have sometimes you might produce a little bit more. Let's just say it's instead of 15 pounds, it's 30 pounds. It might be there for 50 days, so just because it's a little bit more. But
yeah.
It's moving. And that's where you want to be. I mean, that's where you want to be. You don't want to be sitting on that shit for 6 months and then selling it. Like, who wants that? No one.
Now, I know a few years ago, you said not this year, but you said a few years ago you got into extracts. So you guys grow some great flower. The brand starts becoming well known. The industry starts taking off. Spokane's market starts booming. You guys start doing some collaborations. Walk us through your thought process of getting into extracts and then also now exiting extracts.
Well, I think that it's huge. It's huge because it's who's running your material. First of all, the extract game is fucking as cutthroat as it gets. They run shit. They tell you what. Hey, it's like they're the Debo of the weekend. That's any extraction. I don't give a shit who it is. Go look at the parking lot. Go look at the parking lot extraction lab and the parking lot of the farm. They're completely different. They're completely fucking different. So that being said, it's a trust game. It's a trust where I send you material and I trust you to tell me what you get back. That can be any number that you give me. It's not like I send somebody out there and they sit there with the product and it's the real number. Hell no. So you're trusting somebody. So you're already getting screwed because you obviously know in the weed game you don't trust nobody. So that's just how it is. I mean, but what you do is you build a relationship with someone, and hopefully it's a better brand where you can get top dollar out of the product. And if you can do that, then you can sell it and you can actually make some money. But you're not making a dime selling product after you've made a split with somebody. Not the cheap product. You need your own extraction lab. You need your own shit. You need all of it. You need every gram to come back so you can sell it.
And that's a whole series of things. That's a whole process, plan, team, a couple people, licensing, safety precautions, fire codes.
Anywhere from 250 to $1.5 million. How much do you want to spend on your room? So that's where you want to be because that's where you get all of your money back. And look at the farms. Look at the farms that have their own processing. They're doing great. And that's just it. That's just part of the game. I don't care what state you're at. I don't care who you are. I don't care. That's just part of the game.
Yeah.
No matter. So
they're not. The extracts are not going anywhere, man. If anything, they're improving more. There's so many different kinds of products that are able to be strain specific now. There's so many different types of rosins and resin products. It's a very exciting time to be in the weed game, infusing things.
No, it's huge. There's like I said, we deal with refined, we deal with sub X. There's as far as when it comes to BHO, two of the best in the game. Their product the consistency is amazing. We get top dollar for it. So those are two people that I'd want to deal with. The next step is going to be the hash rosin. You see that the market moving in the hash rosin. The problem with that is not every strain produces good hash rosin.
Yep.
Not every strain tastes good. There's only a few. So just finding out what strains those are, or is a process on its own, and then having the right person do it. And there's really not a shelf life. I mean, the shelf life on rosin is super short, so it really only tastes good for a little bit. Right. And
facts
to lose some of its flavor. So the BHO lasts a little longer.
I love rosin. I'm very excited to try your guys' rosin down the road. It's very exciting.
One of your good friends, man. Hey, he makes a pretty good rosin. What's his Instagram? Skrillmo? Yeah, that shit is spot.
Man, big shout out to Big Skrillmo, man. Getting the shout out in the building and the big respect from motherfucking Fred, man. Let's go.
He does his thing. So but that's kind of where the market's moving as far as that. And you see like $60 to $80 a gram. And I see a lot of people moving that. If you couldn't sell flower, I mean, and that's your avenue, do it. But it's really not our avenue, like that doesn't really fit with what we're doing. Maybe in a couple of years or something, maybe when the outdoor, we got greenhouse and things like that, we could probably move to that. But like right now, it just wouldn't work for us.
So here in California, we see rosin vapes, we see rosin capsules, rosin edibles. We see regular rosin in expensive stuff all the way down to like the 45 a gram plus tax here, this 60 to 70 or whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get it down in that 40 to 50 range, rarely, right? But that's that's kind of the floor on out here. As you are a consumer, right? I'm sure you primarily only smoke GLW. Do you ever try other products that are in the market?
Yeah, shit. As far as the rosin, Legendary Labs, out here, I bought some of their rosin. It's fucking great. That's really good. Um, was it Pacific Northwest Roots? Some of their, some of their stuff. Kush Family, they're
Yep.
crushing. There's some farms that out here. It's all who some people that I know personally, and I know what they do. So I can trust that product. And it tastes good, so I'll support that. If they got a good product. But as far as there's a lot of times spending that much money, I don't want to experiment. I don't want to spend $60 and hope it's good off a bud tender recommendation. No. Bud tender's recommendation barely pay out. I mean, that's just my experience.
Barely. Yeah, and the thing is, and it's not, a lot of people, I don't know, again, shout out to everybody here watching the North American Weed Tour podcast here with Fred today. We don't want to shit on bud tenders. It's just that you got to understand as a customer, a bud tender gets paid a certain kind of wage, generally speaking. It's a retail staff wage. And that means that they cannot regularly afford every product all the time. It's not realistic. So, and then to take that step further, Fred already mentioned how difficult it is for him to get more amounts of product, right? And in terms of samples. So bud tenders are only limited certain allotments, correct?
Yeah.
I know you know the numbers, right?
Hey, some stores will decline samples because they have too many samples coming from all farms. So hey, I want to give samples out. I want to educate you. I want to, but hey, we're at our limit for the month.
Yeah.
Well, fuck. What can I do? So it's just things that we have to work around. And you're right. The thing is, there's some, I've experienced it. Like I had a bud tender one time, and she said, "Well," I said, "What do you recommend?" She said, "Well, this one because it's purple like my hair." And I'm like, "The fuck." It's like, come on, you got to be more educated than that. You got to at least know something. Or just say, "Hey, I've never tried this." I mean, be honest. Because that's all they want. That's all they want. They don't want you to say, "Hey, this is fire." You go home, it sucks, and come back and be like, "I've seen it. I've been in a store when the guy was like, no, I don't want her. She recommended something that was garbage last time." And I mean, that's just because when people are spending money now, when people are spending money, their own money on weed, they get picky. Like,
oh yeah. As a customer, we have every right to be picky too, man. You guys have all kinds of flavors, man. I remember going to one of the Cinder stores, one of the little Cinder pop-ups back in the day. Probably the last time I seen it in person. And 22 items were on a list available that day. 22 flavors? Are you serious? And that's where you say they all sell out. I cannot tell you how many times I've gone into stores and they probably started with 12, 20, 22 flavors, and a lot of them were already sold out and they're crossed off on a list. It happens time and time again. And to me, that's one of the things that most attracted me early on to GLW is I remember obviously the pink taco, and then we got to smoke through a lot of the other strains. I remember the launch of the peanut butter patties. It's been a very, very exciting ride, and to see your guys' growth, to be a part of some of the R&D and do some events. I don't know if events and things are happening up there in the Pacific Northwest, but I do know that there was this video posted today that did take me back to HempFest. Typically this is HempFest weekend.
Yeah, listen, I love HempFest. HempFest is amazing. I mean, you know what? HempFest was so much better before 502, and really, it should have been better after that because they should have let all the farms. They should let all the farms. I mean, fuck, this is our industry. Let us come out and promote. We're not killing HempFest. All we're gonna do is add to it. If they could have 50, 60 farms out there promoting it, man, that'd be the best. There wouldn't be a better event.
Yeah,
but they don't want it. They didn't want anything like that.
It's hard. It's hard because HempFest needs the amount of people and the donations that trickle in from that quantity of people.
Yeah.
There's just somehow some kind of correlation between 100,000+ people where that event just somehow survives every year to year. And then restricting it to be a 21+ environment to make it a legally compliant event, right? would just significantly inhibit it, is how people probably feel. And so I think this is where maybe we could put together, put together some kind of list of like, we try to get to like 100,000 people that would participate in a 21 plus hemp fest.
It'd be lit. It'd be lit.
There's that many people out there that are smoking, and that many people are no longer traveling to the Pacific Northwest year after year right now, whether it's COVID or not. Like, people are smoking everywhere, and I'm not encouraging that many people to gather right now. Let's not let the internet jump my shit. But when all this stuff figures itself out and we figure out how to get events back going, HempFest is going to be fun. So big shout out to them. Big shout out to Hoop Fest. Fred, give us a review on what you just smoked. Talk to us about the terps. What did you taste?
So it's that GMO fuel. GMO fuel. It's got that fuel. It's like, it doesn't have really that GMO funk, but it's got the more fuely, flavor, kind of gassy. And I mean, shit, it's a sativa hybrid. That shit hit me like an indica. I mean, it might have been the first joint, but it was a big one. It was probably, it was at least a full gram, probably a gram 0.5. It was a good joint. And I mean, shit, if you like GMO, it's definitely, has that high, but it didn't really have that GMO funk. True GMO lovers, they know what that is. They know that funk, but it did have that gassy flavor, so that's always good.
So I got a question that I want to take it back just a second ago with just the talk about, bud tenders and products out there. What can consumers do to trust what they're buying, that it's good, that it's clean? Is there indications out there that you feel like consumers can make educated choices on buying good product?
I mean, I think, like, really, obviously, if you can find a bud tender that you trust and they have an honest opinion, shit, stick with them. I'm not saying that there's some stores that they have bud tenders that they smoke the best shit in there. They definitely, you just got to find them. And then as far as like sticking with the same brand, but brands rebrand and change, and things like that. That's one thing that we've never done, is we don't change our recipe. When you come to buy GLW, we want you to have the same product every time. And, some farms might get some different nutrients or switch it up and not tell the consumer. That's kind of messed up, but they don't let people know that. But if you can find a brand you trust, stick with them. Stick with them, because they usually can, put out different strains that are good. Or if you find a certain strain from a certain brand and that's what they do great, just stick with them. And if they change, and consistency is key, but it's tough. It's especially, that's the one thing, is consistent in a big market like this, is cost money. That's what it is. It costs money. So, what you say, Joey?
So this is so crazy to me, because you were talking earlier, consistency is so key, right? You've got this microclimate in Spokane. You were talking about basement grows, this cold weather. Mitch, you grew up in Eastern Washington. It's hot as shit, then it's cold as shit, and then you're talking about growing cannabis, and consistency comes from removing a lot of these changing variables, right? And so these are things that you taught me, Fred, back in the day when you really walked us through it step by step in our early days, in my days as a bud tender early on. So for the people, consistency comes from creating a perfect microclimate, or as perfect as possible for each of the strains, right? You really have to crack a code for those strains that you're growing, right?
Well, yeah, but what we try to do is, there's some strains that are super finicky. And if we have some strains that are finicky and they kind of act the same way, we'll keep them together. But we try to, if we have some strains like that, we really don't keep them around too much. We keep the strains that are happy with what we do, and that way we really don't have to cater them too much. Because at the same time, we are trying to, produce as much product as possible, and a healthy product. And most, I would say 95% of the strains we run love exactly what we do. And then you have a couple that want a little bit more of this and they want a little bit less of that. So, to throw a little bit, to throw 30, 40 plants in a room like that, it's really not worth it for us, So if we have a room, the whole room, we'll do that. But you really want the ideal, temp. You want the ideal, climate. If it feels good to you, this is a good, golden rule. I mean, just a rule of thumb. If it feels good to you, they love it. If it doesn't feel good to you, they fucking hate it. So if it's muggy, if it's too hot, if it's too cold, not enough airflow, shit, they're not happy.
That's a good rule of thumb for a lot of people. I feel like, here in California, you get to grow outside. In Washington, you got a limited outside season for things like that. And then obviously creating indoor situations is really where Washington, Seattle, Oregon, or Seattle, Bellingham, Tacoma, Olympia, all Vancouver, all these different regions in that state. They all kind of specialize in certain strains and certain things. They all have certain flavors that they like. It's really interesting.
Yeah, definitely it is.
Do you have a terpene profile, or obviously, strains and cultivars, they typically have a terpenoid profile, so multiple, right? Do you have 1, 2, or 3 that you really like, or a combination of a few that you really enjoy?
I mean, I like, as far as I've always liked just anything that has that gassy flavor, stuff that has kind of a fruity, gassy flavor. That's it. That's really what I like.
Yep.
Some people like some, things, more lemon, more citrus. That I really don't like that. That's not. I mean, I'll smoke it, but it's really not what I'm gonna continuously buy, over and over again. But I like
absolutely.
Just gas. Like if it's gas, like it smells like gas. I'm trying to smoke that.
So do you prefer more earthy, spicy gas like the pink taco on some aspects, or do you prefer more fruity, purpley gas, the gelatos, the GDPs? Do you prefer more the OG piney gas, or the gelatos straight up just like cookie gas? Cookie
gelato.
gas.
Yeah, that's what I like. That gelato gas. I mean, it tastes good, smells good. I mean, that's and it does the trick. It does that usually that terpene. When I find that terpene, it does exactly what I'm trying to do. So, and that's what you need to do is just find the terpene that is for you. I think that's what a lot of people don't realize. That each terpene is different and affects you different. And once you find what you like, it's just like when you go to the liquor store. People aren't buying Everclear. They're buying Henny, they're buying Grey Goose, they're buying, some stuff like that. So it's what you like. And once you find that flavor, you can trust that brand. Just like with alcohol, you can trust that brand, like shit, I'm their consistency. I want that. Some places you buy it and it's like, hey, that's not the same. That's different. That's different than last time. So it's just finding that terpene is the right one that affects you. To some people it's like, hey, I don't want to get paranoid, or I don't want to get anxious. Well, you just need to find the right one that works for you.
Yeah, I feel like citrus strains definitely are known to make people anxious in combination with higher THC. I feel like that's pretty, common knowledge in that aspect for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure, definitely.
Could you share us a little bit about your first time smoking weed? For you particularly, I'm interested in hearing about this.
It was with my buddy Jose. Rest in peace, Jose. We were at his mom's house. He used to steal weed from his stepdad, and I remember he had a bowl that we smoked out of I think it was like a bone pipe. It was like an old school bone pipe, and we smoked out of it, and shit was hot as hell, burned the shit out of your lip. And I started throwing up in his mom's. Like she had this big tree in the living room. I started throwing up everywhere, in the tree, and just like everywhere in the pot, everywhere. And then I just remember we didn't clean that shit up. We just left. Oh. Yeah, that was the first time.
I'm never letting you smoke in my living room, bro. Never.
That's gross, man. But karma's a bitch, because I remember one time my buddy brought over this guy I didn't know, and he smoked with us, right? And he went into my kitchen and threw up, like he filled up the whole fucking sink with throw up. Hey, and this is like before cell phones, right? So I'm trying to call this, I'm trying to page him. I'm like, man, get this motherfucker back here. Like, you guys got to come clean this shit up.
That is so gross. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I recently smoked 2 joints with someone. I won't name them, but I recently smoked 2 joints with someone, and they were doing the nodding off and so high, the eyes were almost rolling back. It was crazy. And here I am just like, man, what's going on over here, but one of the joints was infused. And it was infused with CBD live resin. So when you think about it, CBD strains that are heavier in CBD, right? Cannabinoid content, it's sleepier weed. It's heavier. OGs, OG Kushes and other heavier strains are known to have cannabinoid profile, and they're typically have a little couple percentage points of CBD in it, and that's what makes them heavy to some aspect, and or help you sleep a little bit. And so that these particular strains was a gelato and a mint cross, a forum cookies mint cross, and had both of us lit. But you know, when they're so high, I remember being like this in college back when I was first smoking with Mitch. Like, it's nodding off, and that's all one thing. But like, you try to talk to people, and you just trail off, and you're like, like your head, you were thinking, and then you just talk what was in your head, and you were just someone like looked at you and like, what did you say? And you're like, you heard me? You heard that? This guy was fucking high. This weed, the weed these days, when people really say the weed these days is fucking hot, like potent as shit, it's true. We got to really give credit to the growers, to gentlemen like you, your teams, for really cultivating cannabis at such a high level to the point where it does sell out in 40, 50 days. We really got to give more credit to the people who you work with on extracting things. It's an absolute blessing to be able to consume your cannabis, my friend. I appreciate what you do.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, it's definitely, as far as, none of this would be possible without the team. We got a great team. It's a lot of hard work. They bust their ass every day. So, I don't do it all. It's definitely done by them. So, it's definitely key to have a great team and, communication, and just that's how we get that product.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Shout out the GLW team, man. Where can people find you guys at?
So as far as Spokane, you can find us everywhere. No, Spokane, I would say where there's only like 3 or 4 stores we're not in. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what that's on them. But every Cinder, so you got Cinders, you got the Apexes, you got Palms, you got the Green Hand, you got who else? Lucky Leaf. You got
Bangers. The bangers, the big dogs. Let's go. Those ones all have great customer experiences. I've been in every single one of those places except for one. I can confirm that every one of those places delivers good service, man.
Oh yeah, they crush it. They crush it. So as far as over on the other side of the state, we got Evergreen Market. We're in all of those. They crush it.
Crush.
Clear Choice. Clear Choice crushes it. They love it over there. What else? With some Bud Huts, we're in. We're getting some new stores out there. We're in about 60 different stores, but it's not my territory over there. I'll go by and say hi, but I'm out here. This is my territory out here. So, but definitely, if you go to a store, ask for us. If they don't got us, they need to get us. For sure.
Man, everybody watching this, man, make sure you guys go around Washington State. Go request GLW. Show some love. Go in the store. Tell them you heard about them on Respect My Regions podcast, man. It's the North American Weed Tour. We created this tour to help showcase local growers. You guys are a craft. You guys are local. You guys started from the ground up. You guys have been doing this. You've been pheno hunting. You smoke the weed yourself. You have all those grams right there of like 20 different strains you got to smoke through to help your business survive. Yeah. That is how it's done, people. You got to do it. It's every step. It's every step and grind point of the way. Fred, thank you so much for being on the show, brother. So I really much appreciate it.
Thanks for
it's been a real honor to learn and to work with you over the years. I think everybody watching, you guys need to go tap in with GLW. Search for GLW or for any hashtag, search for Growing Like a Weed. You can find them on Facebook. You can Google them. They are all over the place.
Black market extracts. That's our extraction. So if you look for our extraction, black market extract, and if it's got the blue lid, refined rennet. So a lot of people don't know that, but if it's got that blue lid, that's refined. The sub X stuff has a sub X sticker on it. But black market extract, and that's all our flour. So definitely check it out, and you can catch our stuff in Refine's packaging as well. So if you're out in Seattle and you see Refine, look for that GLW because they're putting out fire. They have that fire. All the stuff they got is that loud. So
there we go, smoking that loud. Fred from GLW, thank you so much for being on. We very much appreciate it. We'll have to visit you. Make sure you guys and Mitch, you definitely guys got to connect. Mitch, go pheno hunt with him on some of these runs crosses. Yeah,
there.
man, it was a blessing. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Appreciate it, man. You guys have a good night.
All right, brother. Peace.
See ya.
All righty, Mitch. So Fred, GLW, a legend in the weed game out there because Flavor. I think we're gonna rename him Flavor Fred on my phone.
Flavor Fred, that's not a bad name. I really appreciate a lot of the stuff he talked about today is stuff that we've learned from him. And like you said it earlier, his transparency and honesty of being someone that grew pre-legalization within the medical market and within the rec market, and talking about the things that he had to learn and the challenges he overcame that a lot of people did, that people want to act like they didn't, like even in terms of people used to spray weed before they knew it wasn't good, and just the learning of that information. He's done a great job of just helping explain complex topics of growing into ways that I feel like are really easy to understand, and for good and for bad. And so I know we've learned a lot from the homie over the years, and always super appreciative of the game he gives on just growing and the evolution of legal cannabis, man.
If people have any questions, if you need consulting, if you need help, definitely feel free to reach out to us. We will put you in contact. Fred is definitely a person you can count on for good guidance, but be sure to come prepared because it is expert level. Him, his team, all of the people that make GLW look good, make them sell out at their stores, all of the little processes and the big processes that they do is proof and testament to really what it takes to not only survive in legal cannabis, but also thrive in a big way. The partners that he mentioned earlier, those are all very successful retailers. It takes a lot to work at that level between the vendor days, between the educational trainings, the CRMs and the follow-ups and the communications and the phones and the driving and the deliveries. There are so many points to this, not to mention the taxes and all that kind of stuff. There's a lot. And so just to be here with us today it's super dope. Mitch, I appreciate you being here on the show. Do you have anything for the people that we need to mention? I'm trying to think before we forget.
Man, we just got more stuff coming, a lot of episodes, a lot of traveling. I know we talked about it last week, but I'm going to keep tapping in.
I forgot to smoke this.
On the events coming up, we got Hollow Flowers, Boston Cannabis Week, MJ Unpacked, MJ BizCon. Hopefully, the what's going on with COVID allows a lot of these events to continue to go as they're currently planned, and I'm excited to get out and network with people.
The NFL is requiring vaccinations, and that's interesting because I feel like that's going to send a trend or a standard or a precedent for a lot of other people in terms of like major events and maybe the trickle-down effect. I'm not necessarily for or against it. I don't personally think I'm just going to have to react and get it all done so I can travel and be everywhere. I just hope that everybody please is safe and makes the smartest decision that they can make for themselves and their family. I think that's the fairest and smartest thing that anybody can say at this point. Everyone's life in reality is different.
Absolutely. Do what you got to do for you. And there's hella ways to make money from home. I mean, I know everyone's situation is a little difficult, but if you got to stay home, man, there's a lot of different ways to make money from home these days. So
stay inspired, man. Don't let this new lockdown tool get y'all down. Definitely tap in with the content. Look at life and look at music. Get back to consuming and doing things outside, and breathing that fresh air as well. As we get into the fall, the North American Weed Tour is going to go until December. So we do have 67 more podcasts to do, which is very exciting. We've never committed to something like this before. We typically do events, everybody. We typically do concerts. We typically do all these different parties and shows and shit. Now we want to just give back to the community and feature as many of our good friends in Washington, the people we've built really awesome relationships with and become friends with here in California for me. And then all of the new relationships we've been building across the country. We have Icefire coming up. We have Mad Mark coming up. House of Cultivar coming up. Treehawk Farms coming up. We have a bunch of other big, popular, small, commercial, craft, technology, lawyers, you name it. We're going to have all kinds of different people across the industry, as well as some customers who we trust and respect how they smoke and what they do. So we really appreciate everybody for supporting us. This episode went long. Mitch, appreciate you, bro.
That's it. Peace.
Episode 13, North American Weed Tour. J Ping, Mitch Pfeiffer, checking out. Love you guys. Peace.